Okay, what I've asked you guys to do is to go and to put these equations into slope-intercept form. I want to remind you that slope-intercept form, well, let me go back. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Sometimes you'll hear people say solving for y. Remember, m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. This is the information we need to know, have in order to graph. So the first one we have is 2x plus 3y equals 12. I'm trying to get y by itself right here. And the first thing I'm looking at is I'm going to try and figure out what I have to do, add or subtract to the side. I need to move this 2x over here to the right-hand side. So this is a positive 2x. So what I need to see on your papers is subtract 2x from each side. Then these cancel out, and I bring down 3y equals. You could write 12 minus 2x. I'm going to always put my x first. So minus 2x plus 12, keeping the signs the same, meaning that the 12 is positive and the negative 2x is, and the 2x is negative. Now, there's a 3 with the y, so it says 3 times y. The opposite times is divide. I need to divide each thing by 3. Right here, these cancel, and I get y equals, this here is negative 2/3 x plus 4. Whoops, this is what you should have down on your paper right now. Now, the next thing was that you needed to identify the slope and the y-intercept. Which number is the slope? Negative 2/3. It's not the x. The x is a variable. The slope is just the number, negative 2/3. The y-intercept is the number being added or subtracted. So you should have 0, 4 written down. That's what we're trying to identify. Next one, we have negative x plus y equals 10. Well, I need to get y by itself. What's on the same side of the equation with the y? The negative x. To move that to the other side, I need to do the opposite of negative x, and I need to add x to each side. Y equals x plus 10. There's my equation. Now, I said we needed to identify the slope and the y-intercept. What number is the slope? 1. What's the y-intercept? 0, 10. Number 3. 10x plus 30y equals 90. Right now, I want you to go and solve this one for y. Right here on number 3, I always draw my dotted line at the equal sign. You don't have to do that. I need to get y by itself. I have a positive 10x. I should be subtracting 10x from each side. I get 30y. I bring that down because the 10x is canceled out. Equals negative 10x plus 90. From here, I'm going to divide by 30. These cancel. Y equals. Now, some people have a hard time reducing the fractions. Oh, let's see here. To reduce the fractions in the calculator, I'll put it right here. Oh, darn. All you do is go into the home screen. So I'll go second quit, and I'm going to put in there negative 10 divide 30. And you can press math. See, look, underneath the alpha button right here is math. and press enter twice. It will reduce the fractions for you. Okay, that way in case there's other ones on the EOC or on your test, you can figure out which ones they're supposed to be. Oh, let's see here. All right. So it should be negative 1/3 x. You can even do them with this. If you're confused and don't know if 90 divided by 30 goes in evenly, you can put 90 divided 30, press math, enter, enter, and it will tell you that it's 3. So you put in, like you would put in 90, divide 30, press math, and enter 2 times. And that'll reduce your fractions and divide them for you. The slope is the number in front of the x. That's negative 1/3. The y-intercept is the number over here by itself, which is 0, 3. The next one, number 4. Let's see here. Number 4, 3x minus y equals 0. Same idea. Trying to get y by itself right here. What's on the same side of the equation with the y? The 3x. It's a positive 3x, so I need to do the opposite, and I need to subtract 3x from each side. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see is that, see how this says negative y? People forget and they just put a y down here. Don't forget to bring down the negative. And then the 0 drops off, and so I get negative 3x. Now, this is the same as saying negative 1. So I would divide each side by negative 1. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And then right here, negative 3 divided by negative 1 is positive 3x. This is actually my equation right here. Now, when I'm trying to find the slope and the y-intercept, what number is my slope? It is 3. Now, make sure you don't put x. Okay, x is the variable. 3 is the slope. What's the y-intercept? It is 0, 0. If there's not a number there, it's the same as plus 0. Number 5. Number 5 is 3 plus x minus y equals 0. Whoa. Try that again. Let me write that a little bit nicer. 3 plus x minus y equals 0. Okay? Take a minute and try and solve this one, please. This one, I'm going to draw my dotted line. It doesn't matter which you move first, whether you move the 3 or the x. It doesn't matter. I'm going to move the 3 first, so I'm going to subtract 3 from each side. These cancel. I get x minus y equals negative 3. Well, here's my y again. I'm going to move the x. It's a positive x, so I'm going to subtract x from each side. Negative y. The negative y comes down, and I get negative x minus 3. Now, I'm going to divide by negative 1. And a negative divided by negative is a positive. I've got y equals negative divided by negative is a positive, x plus 3. That's my equation. My slope is the number in front of x. What number is in front of x? It is a 1. If there's not one written there, that's a 1. My y-intercept, 0, 3. Number 6, 2x plus 3y equals 0. Well, same thing, I'm trying to get y by itself. Here's the y. What is it that I can add or subtract? the 2x. It is a positive 2x, so do the opposite. Subtract 2x from each side. These cancel. I bring down and I've got 3y equals negative 2x. I don't have to put the plus 0. And now I'm going to divide by 3 because y has to be by itself. Y equals, the 3's cancel out because they make 1, negative 2/3 x. And when you see it on a multiple choice test on the EOC, it'll be written just like this. They won't have the plus 0 on there. M is the slope. Slope is the number in front of x. So it's negative 2/3. B is the y-intercept. 0, 0. Number 7. 4 plus y equals negative 10x. On this one, we're still trying to get y by itself. The x is already over there, so this time I'm going to move the 4. It's a positive 4. So all I'm going to do is subtract 4 from each side. These cancel. I get y equals negative 10x minus 4. That's my equation. My slope is negative 10. My y-intercept, 0, negative 4. Number 8. Negative 5x minus 10y equals 100. Take a second and solve for y and label your slope and your y-intercept. On this one, here's my y. I'm going to move the negative 5x, so I add 5x to each side. I get negative 10y equals 5x plus 100. I divide everything by negative 10. Right here, y equals, remember on this fraction right here, just to remind you on using the calculator. Where'd it go? You can go 5 divide, negative 10, math, enter, enter. You get negative 1/2. So I get, oh, come on, negative 1/2 x minus 10. That's my equation. My slope is negative 1/2. My y-intercept is 0, negative 10. Number 9. Four y minus 3x equals 16. Solve this one for y and label the slope and the y-intercept, please. First thing I see is there's my y. So I'm going to add 3x to each side. These cancel. I get 4y equals 3x plus 16. Divide by 4. These cancel. I get y equals 3/4 x. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Whoops, there we go. My slope is 3/4. My y-intercept, 0, 4. Okay, the last one. Number 10, 5x minus 20y equals 40. Okay, on this one, here's my y. Move the 5x, so I'm going to subtract 5x from each side. I get negative 20y equals negative 5x plus 40. Divide by negative 20. Whoops, that's not a 20 right there. There we go. These cancel and I get y equals, now I can go in my handy dandy calculator and put in there, oh, turn that off. Negative 5 divide negative 20, math, enter, enter. I get 1/4. So 1/4 x, no, it's not going to write, hold on. 1/4 x, and then 40 divided by negative 20 is negative 2. There's my equation. My slope is 1/4. My y-intercept is 0, negative 2.